So, get this. The political world just got flipped upside down, spun around, and served with a side of maple syrup. Donald Trump, the man who never leaves the stage, was supposed to cruise to another victory in his latest venture, but then, out of nowhere, a new challenger appeared. Mark Carney. Yes, that Mark Carney, the guy who ran the Bank of England and the Bank of Canada. It was like watching a heavyweight boxing champion get knocked out by a chess grandmaster. Nobody saw it coming. And now, everyone is trying to figure out what just happened. This wasn't just another election. This was a battle for the soul of something big. On one side, Trump, king of rallies, red hats, and spectacle. On the other, Carney, a man who probably finds a well-organized spreadsheet thrilling. The contrast couldn't have been more stark, which makes Carney's victory so mind-blowing. Trump's inner circle had the champagne on ice, the victory speech ready. Instead, they got a polite, "Sorry, but we've decided to go in a different direction." The fallout? Immediate and intense. Suddenly, the blame game began. And in a wild twist, the anger and confusion found a new target. Canada. So grab your popcorn. This is just getting started. Let's talk about Mark Carney. He's a Canadian economist who ran both the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England. A rare feat. Calm, analytical, and the anti-Trump in every way. Then there's Donald Trump, real estate mogul, reality TV star, and the 45th President of the United States. He thrives on chaos, rallies, and all-caps social media. The idea of him facing off with a quiet economist like Carney seemed like a mismatch, just not in the way people expected. Enter Pete Hoekstra, former Republican congressman, Trump's ambassador to the Netherlands, and a staunch loyalist, known for his fierce defense of Trump and sometimes heated outbursts. Now, these three, Carney, Trump, and Hoekstra, are at the center of a political storm. Their paths have collided, creating a perfect storm of intrigue, frustration, and a bizarre international blame game. And the story is far from over. This wasn't a presidential election, but it might as well have been. The prize: leadership of a powerful international trade consortium controlling key supply chains between North America and Europe. Trump saw it as his next big stage. Huge rallies, big promises, and a message that only he could secure America's dominance. Carney entered quietly, working behind the scenes with business leaders and finance ministers. No slogans, just stability, growth, and efficiency. His campaign was all charts and data, but to the international board, it was music to their ears. The turning point, the final debates. Trump threw verbal punches. Carney calmly dismantled his arguments with facts. When the votes were counted, Carney won, decisively. The board chose the steady hand over the showman. For Trump, it was a humiliating defeat. The narrative of the unstoppable winner was shattered, and the fallout was just beginning. As soon as Carney's victory was announced, Trump's camp went into a frenzy, but no one took it harder than Pete Hoekstra. He'd been a vocal champion, predicting a landslide win. Instead, he erupted, furious social media posts, calling the results a sham and a disgrace. Classic Trump playbook: lose, then claim the game was rigged. But Hoekstra took it further, targeting Carney personally, and then bizarrely, his nationality. In a heated TV interview, Hoekstra dismissed Carney as a puppet for anti-American interests. His anger pivoted from globalists to a single source: Canada. The logic? Our guy lost to a Canadian, so it must be Canada's fault. For Hoekstra, it made perfect sense in the heat of defeat. Hoekstra's anger needed a target, and he zeroed in on Canada. His attacks escalated from subtle digs to outright accusations. The Canadians have been undermining our economy for years. Now they've stolen this. He reframed the loss as Canadian aggression, not a rejection of Trump. On a media tour, he claimed, without evidence, that Canadian lobbyists had infiltrated the board. He painted Carney as a Trojan horse for Canadian interests. Old trade disputes became proof of Canada's animosity. The Blame Canada strategy gave Trump supporters a simple villain. It was easier to say we were cheated than admit defeat. And it tapped into the economic nationalism at the heart of the MAGA message. The US reaction? Completely split. Trump's supporters embraced Hoekstra's narrative. Chas and Blame Canada trended within hours. For them, it fit the idea that unseen forces are always working against Trump. Others were confused, amused, or embarrassed. Late-night shows had a field day. Analysts called it another example of refusing to accept reality, turning a simple loss into a diplomatic incident. In Canada, the response was a collective shrug and a laugh. The idea of a grand Canadian conspiracy was seen as ridiculous. Canadian social media exploded with jokes and memes about secret Mountie missions. The official government response, a polite congratulations to Carney, with no mention of the drama. By refusing to engage, Canada made Hoekstra's ranting look even more isolated. So, what does this mean for US-Canada relations? In the short term, it's awkward. Hoekstra's accusations are fueling anti-Canadian sentiment among a vocal minority. This could complicate future negotiations on trade or border issues. The episode reveals a deep divide. One side sees international bodies as rivals, the other as partners. Carney's win and Hoekstra's reaction highlight this clash. For Trump, losing to Carney is a direct hit to his brand. The frantic search for a scapegoat shows the old playbook may be losing its power. Ultimately, this is more than political gossip. It's a snapshot of our times. Even the strongest friendships can be tested when one neighbor starts yelling at the other for things they didn't do.